Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Okay, I was going to say good morning. It may not be morning where you are, but welcome back to the podcast. Or when you're listening to this, I'm sorry, that just comes out. Today, there's something fresh in my mind. And so I just thought, let's just get on the podcast and see if I get any reaction or any feedback from this kind of topic. So I do talk a lot about thrifting and, decorating, from thrift store finds and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's a big part of the content on My Creative Days. And recently I posted a reel and it was just me talking. I had actually bought a box of old ornaments at a thrift shop. And so when I was getting them out to hang them on the tree, the thrift store had used packaging tape around the box to kind of keep the ornaments in there, obviously. But the sticky side of the tape, it was actually sticking to the ornaments. And I was able to save these, but a lot of times that will take off like the finish of whatever's in that box. And so I was just saying, can we do better? Is there a different way for thrift stores to package these items? There's many times when I've gone into a thrift store and they'll have like the stickers, the price tags, and it's not even just older items, but a lot of the older items or the vintage items that I'm picking up, some of them are so delicate or just so old that they're what do I want to say? They just can't withstand that sticky new tag, if that makes sense. And so think of like old books. There's so many times I don't buy them now anymore because there's so many times when you'll pull off that sticker and you'll see the square, like it pulls off that first top layer of, whatever the book's made out of, if it's paper or leather, not leather, but it's like, it's really worn, right? And so you're left with that square it's a different color, the square where that tag was, you're left with that just sitting there. And so same goes for like, I've picked up old games like in boxes or old things that come in, they still have their original box. And then you'll go home and you'll pull off that sticky sticker and it's taken off the, the last four letters of the name of the game or something. And it's just like this square empty space, and you can tell, oh, there was a sticker there, there was a price tag there. So I've been just walking by those items. If it's kind of like the books and stuff, if you're setting them out, it's very noticeable. If you're setting out, the boxes of whatever it is that you're finding, it's more noticeable than if it's something you're just using from inside the box, obviously. But I got on there as I was, trying to take these ornaments out. And I was just like, there's got to be a better way for thrift stores to package these, to sell these, to price items. They also use permanent markers on things. And some of those things, you cannot get that permanent marker off at all. And so it's like, what? I mean, I understand why they're doing it, right? So it definitely, you want to, contain the items, right? So if it's the ornaments or maybe it's a game or whatever, they will tape the boxes so that people aren't in there just taking things out of the boxes, or you have kids, going around the store and they're picking up a Scrabble tile from this game and putting it in a different, area. I totally get that, but I'm like, is there a better way? I'm just thinking, in every thrift store that I've been in, there's always kind of like an end cap or an area where there are these plastic bags, and they fill those plastic bags with, random things, or maybe they've got kind of a set of something and they'll put them in these plastic bags, and then they'll put like the sticky price tag on the outside of that bag, which is wonderful. Like nothing's touched inside the bag. So I'm like, can we not bring out more of those bags for some of these things? And it's not for everything, but it was just, I'm like, there's just got to be a different way. And the response I got from people they totally agreed. And a lot of the people say that they won't buy those items anymore because of, the way they're priced, or if they put a permanent marker on it, or they just will leave them there. And so the goal of the thrift store is to sell things. But if, I just think that there's got to be a different way and a better way to do these things. And so I shared that. And then the response was overwhelming. It was just so good. Like, yes, I get that. Yes, this, yes, there's got to be a better way. I walk by this stuff, or I'd love to pick up more, but the items are ruined with the way they're packaged. And so, but here's another thing. So, thrift stores, just like I hear, and I hear from a lot of other people, their prices are going up, just like a lot of things. And some of the prices at the thrift store, the prices are getting to be like antique store prices. And so I did get one comment that was like, well, thrift stores are just for the less fortunate. So if you are looking for, it was weird because I was talking about the packaging and how there's got to be different ways that they can package things and move more items because people aren't picking them up because they're ruined by how they're packaging it or how they're pricing it, or like the sticky tags they're using, the permanent marker, the packaging tape, those kinds of things. And then this person was like, but thrift stores are for the less fortunate. And so maybe if you want, it was something like, antiques, you should shop at an antique store. Well, number one, thrift stores are not just for the less fortunate. Two, on that same point, so the less fortunate should expect to go in and buy items that are ruined because of the way they're packaged. And that didn't make sense to me either. And as far as going to antique stores to find certain things and that's where I should shop, I do. I go to both. And right now, a lot of the Goodwill, Salvation Army prices are comparable to what I'm finding in the antique stores. So yes, you find those, those items at thrift stores that's a great deal, or that you're like so excited to find. But it's getting harder and harder to find those things because the thrift stores are getting more smarter, or they're figuring out what things are worth. That's why they're doing a lot of sales online. There's auctions online. They can get more money for certain things, but every thrift store that I've ever been in, there's always that cabinet, or there's that area inside a thrift store that's got, where the special things are marked up, right? And a lot of those are antiques, and they are priced, and to be completely honest, sometimes higher than an antique store. Right after I had posted that about the, like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be better packaging or a different way to do this. Matt and I were actually in a little town that's near us, and there's tons of antique stores there. And I was in there, and I had actually paid for these ornaments. Now, the antique stores, around the holidays, just like the thrift stores and every other store, obviously, they bring out the vintage Christmas and stuff. I had paid exactly what the antique store had on those same ornaments at the thrift store. So to say just shop at antique stores, anymore, sometimes there's not that big of a difference. And thrift stores, don't let anybody ever tell you they are just for the less fortunate. That comment just makes me no, that isn't what it is. So I'm just looking this up right now. A thrift store is different from a consignment or resale shop. It is run by a nonprofit group instead of a merchant. The purpose of a thrift shop typically is to raise money for charities, right? Like they're usually, and the two main examples that I always think about are Goodwill and Salvation Army. Now Goodwill, they are two separate, totally different, and you can look into that. I'm not going to do that all here, but my whole point was, and I think it's something that we can all agree on, especially those of you that are in thrift stores and are shopping for, certain items or to decorate your home, or, you love the vintage, just because we're around the Christmas time, you love vintage ornaments. And so to walk into a thrift store and find some, to put on your tree, like that's like, it's for a true thrifter and somebody that loves the thrill of the hunt, finding those, not rare, but like finding those finds when you're out hunting is like hitting the jackpot. It's like, that's what's so fun to me about thrifting. It's like, you never know what you're going to run into. And I was just saying that let's come up with some different ways for the thrift stores to price and package these items. And I know like cost is a thing and it needs to be cost effective. And I get that, but they're using, plastic bags for certain items, but yet packaging tape on other items. And so it's like, let's use more of the plastic bags or whatever it is. Maybe it's just zip ties that, with price tags on them instead of permanent marker and stuff like that. So I would love to hear from you about this topic. Like, how do you find that the thrift stores where you're shopping in, that they you just want some things you walk by or don't pick up because of how they're priced, or just like that, there's a sticker on there and as soon as you get that home and take that off, it's going to take off the entire finish of the book or the box or whatever it is. The same goes for furniture, and I do a lot of furniture flipping. I've talked a lot about it here on the podcast. But, sometimes I have been to store like Restore and, in thrift stores, obviously, where they have taped on a tag. And if that tape is like I always think just use painter's tape or something that's just not gonna take off the finish. So I have brought pieces home and then, taken the tape off, the sticker and stuff, and it's taken the finish off of the actual piece of furniture. And so when I'm selling, like if we host a sale here at our house, when I am pricing furniture, I always use like a paper tag that's got that string on it. You can just buy them at Walmart. But then you write the price on that and then you just tie it to the hardware, a knob, a pole, something like that. So like nothing, the finish isn't going to be taken off. So I know there's better ways, and I just got on there, to share a reel about it because it was happening at the time. And I'm just like, I was just so scared to pull that tape off of those ornaments. And a lot of times if you do it really slowly, but you are able to salvage a lot of things, but anything paper, cardboard, especially the old paper or the old cardboard or the old books, like you can't go slow enough. It's just like an instant, it's going to take it off. So I was just a little frustrated because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these ornaments, and I did pay up for them. I'm like, they're going to be ruined, because I think there were like 3 of them that were actually stuck to the packaging tape. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to pull these off. I'm going to pull this off, and it's going to take all that finish off from the old ornaments. And they're getting harder and harder to find, and they're so delicate. That's one thing too. They're so delicate, the old vintage ornaments, that I have gotten them home, and then you go to, take a tag off or something, and then it shatters or it cracks, or you know what I mean? So it's like, oh. So anyway, I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are, what your ideas are. Do you walk away from items in the thrift store because of the way they're priced? I know there's other ways, because you see them in different stores and the way they price things. There's got to be better ways to do it. But and I know a lot of resellers talk about this too, especially, if they're using permanent marker on like shoes and things like that, resellers want to sell, then it's hard to get that off and, all of that. So that's a whole different kind of market, but it's definitely out there. So I'm just curious. I thought I got so much response from that reel. And so I thought I'd share it here on the podcast and see what you think, or how you feel about it, or if what's that one item that you've had to walk away from in the thrift store because of the way it was priced, because you knew it would be, damaged or ruined when you got it home and took that price tag off. So that's it for today. Just a little topic that was kind of fresh in my mind because I got that other comment this morning. So I just thought I'd share it here on the podcast, and I hope I hear from you guys and tell me what you think. Okay, until next time, guys, have a great day. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode, And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so, so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.